To join us, Colotti has just gone across the special sprint of the day, and the gap we have is 1 minute and 12 seconds then for Colotti to these two riders who just have been unable to settle their differences whatsoever. The deputy team director of Buckler's come up to have a word with Maassen, so that's Hilaire van der Schuren. Jan Raas is back with the main field, and here Maassen is attempting to get Sajan to cooperate in chase down Colotti, who now has a 1 minute lead. And at that sprint point, here we are looking at Colotti now, he just has 28.5 kilometres to go to the finish. And those two riders behind, here we are, and the Panasonic's coming up, so there'll be a few choice words coming out of this one as well. And the mechanic sitting in the back there, you see the good shot of the sunshine roof, where they actually, when they're going along, sometimes they can climb out to the roof, mechanics, and will actually attend to bikes on the top of the roof. And Jan Legrand, the mechanic for the Panasonic team, I remember in the days, the rally team, when we had a very, very long, slow stage and nothing much has happened, Jan Legrand climbed out of the roof of the car and then stretched himself out and went to sleep on the roof. So we had to be careful we didn't slam the brakes on in all sorts of trouble. The mechanics worked very long hours, and the poor chaps were last to go to bed almost when they finished getting the bikes and checking them over and washing them down and changing the sprockets and when necessary changing the tyres and everything else. So it's a hell of a responsibility, because these bikes have to function absolutely perfectly. Jean-Claude Colotti then now becoming the darling of France, and there we are, the so 1:40 the time check I'm getting coming in now, so 1:12, then start 5:40. Oh my goodness, they're all over the place now. Well, it couldn't have played better into Colotti's hands if he'd written the script himself. To imagine that those two riders, who undoubtedly have got tremendous strength, have let him get away with it like this, and with some 28 kilometres still to go. It's around about some 15 miles or so. One of the press cars zooming through, and the pressmen must be scratching their heads as well and licking their pencils and saying, we've got to write this one down, let's nip along through. And they're all thundering off down now to the finish. What the journalists do, as Colotti now is getting a few words of wisdom. Of course, the Z team without Greg LeMond, they're all searching, I think, to get a bit of glory, and Eric Boyer having a third place after Greg had retired from the race. Now 1:44 on these two here, who are called poursuivants. Well, they're not poursuiving very fast, are they? They've let the gap grow all the time, and at long last, I suspect probably that the two team managers for Panasonic, or deputy team manager, Panasonic and Buckler, have had a few words on the radio, or driven their cars alongside each other and had a few words there as well, because undoubtedly Sajan has been very dilatory in not helping Maassen at all, and so there's no love lost between these two teams, but surely they've got to get Colotti back and then settle their differences when they get into the finish. Well, that's of course the perplexity of bike racing, and you get a lot of experts who'll sit in a bar, or they'll meet you somewhere and they'll start talking to you about tactics in bike racing. But when you start 198 riders, you start 198 different stories and 198 different ambitions. Some of them, of course, those ambitions are put on one side while they do what their team director says they should do. But throughout the whole of the race, when you're in the saddle and riding for 21 stages, then I can tell you, you have 21 times 198 stories about what has happened during the Tour, and 198 times 21 days of ambition for the riders as well. Ambition for some of them is just to finish the Tour de France, to actually say later on to your children, your grandchildren, yes, I finished the Tour de France. And whilst we've had the race this year, Kravsol rides for the Z team, his wife's given birth to a little son, and they said, because Franco Ciccioli won the stage that day, was he going to call it Franco on the day that Franco won it, because his son was born that day? And he said no, he's given it a Norwegian name. I suppose Franco isn't very Norwegian, is it? And also actually Franco Ciccioli, his wife has given birth as well during the Tour. So life goes on outside the Tour in more ways than one, and right now these two, I think, could stick an axe in each other's head at the moment, the way they're going. Neither of them seems to be very pleased, and this fellow's taking complete advantage of it. Well done, Jean-Claude Colotti, not to get involved in that. Look at his face now, having a good go, isn't he? Determination, getting close to about 25 kilometres to go to the finish. Fair chance he can win the stage. I won't say by default, but he took his chance. He recognised those two hated each other's guts, and down the road he went. And now he's got to ride this one on his own, just hoping that the two don't bury the hatchet in more ways than one. No, they're still, look at this, that's it. They've jacked it in. Hey, the thought occurs, we haven't seen Newlands and Louvio, have we, Brian? What they know? Last time check we got, the group is 11 minutes, and Newlands and Louvio were 5:45 down, and Colotti 1:44. So, when Newlands and Louvio come up, another little plot will unfold itself, because Newlands rides to Panasonic. He's bound to catch Sajan Martin very quickly, and then I wonder what will happen. Here we go, 2 minutes 17. Back to the failed poursuivants, who are now not poursuivanting at all. Marson will be very upset with that one, I think. Frans Marson, no stranger to the British supporters of cycle racing, because he won the Wincanton Classic in 1989 when we had the first one in Newcastle. That's Newcastle on Tyne, not Newcastle on the Lyme. And that was way back in 1989. Here, Jean-Claude Colotti searching for that victory today, and he might well get it if the rest of this group don't do something about pulling that gap back. Well, a determined effort here with those mirror sunglasses, making him look like a man from another planet. Is got a good lead now. It's now 2:17, 2 minutes 17 coming up on the radio. So Nydam, whose father Henk won this stage way back in '66, is trapped in the main field behind, and that long lead that he got, Colotti 11 minutes. I don't think Nydam can repeat that process and have to wait again to try and get another stage victory, will the bold Kjella, because this man, see those little webs, by the way, around the front of the head of the bicycle, looks very thick. Where the lugs, where the actual tubing goes, instead of having lugs, they've got webs in there to strengthen the area weight joints. So see that little thing going whiz, whiz, whiz around the front wheel? It isn't something that's caught in there. That is the counter. And as it goes past on his forks, you'll see another little blockage on there. Well, that is where the counter goes past, and electronically, then you can see it now. That's a little bit on his front fork on the far left-hand side of your screen there. Well, that is where it picks up the pulse, and then up it goes via cable onto his computer on the top. I say by cable, some of them now are actually getting the electronic pulses being transmitted that short distance and picked up without a cable. And I think this might be one of those new computers that just do that you don't actually have any cables, then that the pulse will go straight up towards the your computer. Well, Marson at the back here. Finished 129th at the Tour de France last year, but his best success, I think, last year, winning the Tour of Holland. Claude Colotti finished second in the Paris-Roubaix last year, when Marc Madiot rode in under very, very nasty conditions indeed. And way back in 1990, he won the prologue and took a stage in the Midi Libre, took a stage in the Volta of Burgos. He's been around for quite some time now, Jean-Claude Colotti, 31 years of age, searching for his first stage victory in the Tour de France. Well, if looks could kill. Choice words there, dear me. Oh, pumps at dawn, are we out there? And the chase is not particularly active at the moment. We see Bonesto on the front and Indurain in behind there. The last time check we had over 11 minutes, so the intrigue today is ahead of this group. Yep. Well, the fire has gone out of the chase in no uncertain terms, and I think they resign themselves to the fact that that little lot up in front can sort out their differences if they can, whilst Jean-Claude Colotti is looking for that stage victory. The The discussion is still going on between the team managers and their riders of these two strange happenings here, or this strange happening amongst these two men, because last time check we got 2 minutes and 54 seconds now to Jean-Claude Colotti, and unless they really get stuck in now, Marson here beginning to accelerate away, then Jean-Claude Colotti could be on his way to a stage victory in the Tour this year. So the Marc Sargent has finally woken up to the fact that they're going to be out of the frame if they don't do something about it, and is showing for the first time that he's prepared to go on the front, but I don't think his legs are going round as fast as Marson would like them, but at least they're beginning to roll rather than just stuck stationary as they have been for so long. So the Panasonic rider on the front, the Buckler man behind him, the Jean-Claude Colotti up in front, and we haven't seen on our screen for some time now Louvio and Newlands, who are in between, and the last check we had, they're more or less equidistant between Colotti and the main group here, who are not, I think, worried about chasing down any of those breakaway groups at the moment. It's Benesto here going to triumphantly ride in with the yellow jersey. 3 or 4 back up the front. We did see Soren Lilhold briefly while we were off air. When I was off air, you didn't see it, but we have it on the monitor screen showing you what's going on, or showing us what's going on. That Lilhold had another burst on the banjo at the front and tried to get away, and we'll wait to see whether he finally got that one, because the producer whipped straight up to the front of the race while Lilhold was charging off down the road in his green tulip jersey. So with the Benesto team here, very happy indeed with, that's it, 20 kilometres to go. We'll get the old watches out and see if we can pick up, we'll get an official confirmation on the radio as well, but it's nice to get our own little time checks going just to see how much gap there is between them. Well, I mentioned earlier on that Nydam's father had won here at the finish at Montlucon. Hassenforder won some 36 years ago in 1956. The clown who really, when he used to ride his bike, was always a bit of a joker in the pack. You get some comedians, believe you me. Evidently that in the TVM squad they say that Harmeling and Skibby were the two jokers in the pack there. Well, one of those jokers in the pack has gone now. That's Rob Harmeling, went out yesterday. And the gap 13.58 shows you, I thought, that the peloton wasn't winding it up very much. 14 minutes for Jean-Claude Colotti, and look at the state, look at his face. Wow, he's determined. Great move he did. If you just switched on and wonder what on earth's happening, yes, I thought Lilhold had clopped off on his own. With a big gap like that, 13.58, then certainly Lilhold has done the right thing. Oops. Has he pulled his wheel over? No, he's just waiting to take the left-hander. He eased a bit then. I wondered when he jumped up like that as to whether he had pulled his wheel over or something. He seemed to free wheel for a moment, and that's the main group. So the one rider out in the front at the moment, Colotti. No great concern as far as the Benesto team are concerned in the general classification. The best placed rider from Z is Eric Boyer, who's lying 13th overall, 20 minutes and 40 seconds down. Simon is 27th overall at 45.36 for the Z team. Claviola is 32nd at 59.32 on the general classification. And looking down here, the Le Marchand 103rd overall. So the Z's well and truly spread throughout the general classification. Kravsol is lying 51st at the moment, so they're all over the place on GC. Where, if you haven't read your papers this morning, Indurain is still in the lead by 1 minute 42 seconds. On Hampson, 8 minutes and 7 back in third spot. Lino is fourth at 9.22, a fine ride by the RMO rider. Gianni Bugno, fifth, 10 minutes 9 seconds down. Delgado, sixth at 11.50. There we are, you see the yellow jersey down in the group, the green jersey not far back from him. And they're looking at the blackboard here, and there must be some wonderment amongst the riders. See Claudio Chiappucci having a chat down there. I think they've all resigned themselves then just to riding in today and saving their strength, because we have got this this time trial yet to come, and the top men will want to sort themselves out a bit as the that's 3 minutes exactly was the check on my watch. 3 minutes, so that they're beginning to try and do something about pulling back that gap. And I'm saying we've got the time trial on stage 19, and then the riders have just got 1 day, that's tomorrow, between themselves and the time trial. In fact, they give it 3 minutes and 2 seconds for Jean-Claude Colotti, and 13:58 to the peloton, the last time check we got. Short, punchy little rider. See the scars on his left elbow here? We've got a nice little close-up of him. That's the typical bike rider's scarred position, because when you go down, the things that get clouted are your elbows and all your knees, and very much your hips. Here we are. They have decided to stick it up a bit, and so they're going on close now to, I think that's 60 kilometres per hour. At long last, they've woken up to the fact that if they don't get stuck in, that's bye-bye to the stage victory. And I'm not surprised then that the two team managers must have given them both a bit of a talking to. And right, now then, Colotti's got some thing to worry about. He did just the right thing, and it's taken him an awful long time now that the instructions coming up and telling him that they've decided to get the hammer out behind, and we've got a right old chase coming up. The gap something like 3 minutes. He's inside, 20 kilometres to go, and of course between those two chasers we have more riders we still haven't seen for a long time now, Luvio and Newlands, and we also know that Lilholt has gone off the front of the group as well. So we have in fact now got 6 men away from the main peloton on this stage of the Tour de France, going in towards the finish at Montlucon. $189 kilometres today, and that is 118 miles of racing, and 20 kilometres to go is around about 13 miles. So he's had over 100 miles of racing under his legs today, and this will just show you as our little bar moves along, and you see how flat it has been. And look at this little descent now, the right-hand side of your screen there, at 173 kilometres. It's now all downhill into the finish, and perhaps those two riders behind might have left it too late, but you never know. So the gap was 3 minutes and 2 seconds last we heard, and we'll wait for confirmation of it coming up, but to see whether he's going away from those chasers, or whether they're cutting it down and narrowing the gap. Interesting style he's got there, as we're now at whoops, got into that one. That was 15 kilometres to go. He's going very quickly indeed. And the main field, well, this is certainly going to help the green jersey of Jalabert, because there are 6 riders. You know, they all decide it's time to have a drink. Looking back down there for the green jersey, Jalabert has been having a go with Museo for that green jersey. He's had the whole of the tour. With 6 men down the road, it's going to reduce the number of points which are available for Museo to have a go at getting that green jersey back off him. But I rather think that possibly Museo has decided now that he would rather ride in and try and get a stage victory somewhere, particularly the Champs-Élysées, where he did a couple of years ago come first over the line. Shot down there of the Zeds surrounding Gianni Bugno in his World Champions jersey. And there's a green jersey on the left-hand side moving forward. Just mentioning him, and on cue up comes Luvio, who's never far away from the side of Indurain in the yellow. So that's the position at the moment. And the Banesto, 1, 2, 3 of them, 4 of them, round about 5 of them. No, you can see the Banesto rider, 3 up front, then you get Indurain, and then 2 behind him. So in fact we've got 6 Banesto riders all together, because Indurain there in the yellow jersey, the team leader of that very famous Spanish team, and the sponsors, Banesto, into banking and financing affairs down in Spain, must be very pleased with the performance of their team this year. And here, whizzing round, God, he's really got the gears wound up. Now look at that! A blur of legs, a blur of wheels, and a blur of a body whistling along in towards the finish. If any man deserves to get there in one piece ahead of the rest, it's this fellow. He's not going some. So 3:02 was the last time, 3:07, a little bit gone up now, 5:30 then to Louvio, and the main group 13:35. In fact, Lillo's just off the front of that. He's 13:35 and the peloton 13:58. So Sargent and Martin, despite the fact they've buried the hatchet, and I didn't see the handles sticking out the sculls, but they seem to have got stuck in again. And well, he just puts his finger onto his brake levers, I think, just to steady and be there to brake if he has to do. And these are two, they're certainly not going as fast, are they, as Jean-Claude Colotti. Then. Yeah, they're working but not working fast enough. And well, I put my clock on this, 15 kilometres to go, and let's see how we compare with the official times coming up. And I make it 3:08, so they're probably about the same. 3:07 was the last time we got, and 3:08 I've got on my watch here. So he's just sniffed another second now, so they haven't cut it back at all. So about 10 miles left for this lad, and time for a quick drink. He's going to need that, and up comes an official time check from Bernard Hinault. Wish him all success. We do too. Don't go away. More action coming up in just a moment. 10 kilometres to go to the finish. Jean-Claude Colotti still pedalling like mad. A very, very fast downhill stretch. This group of riders here, last check we had 13 minutes 58 down, are nowhere able to catch him at all, but that won't worry the yellow jersey of Miguel Indurain, because Jean-Claude Colotti started out this morning in 105th place on general classification, 2 hours 52 minutes and 30 seconds down on Miguel Indurain. So the gap then enormous, and the chance of Colotti getting the stage all the time getting more and more possible. How, you say, does he come to be 2 hours 52 minutes and 30 seconds down? Well, every day the riders, they go across the line, not only is their position counted for the green jersey in the points section, but also the time is taken of every rider. If a bunch comes in together, maybe you get 100 riders all together, then they will give them all the same time, because you can't put a clock on the front and then a clock on the back. Even if it's 10 seconds from front to back, you give them all the same equal time. But on the mountains, we've been having riders coming into the finish up to an hour on more, particularly on the stage in the Siestras, when we had 3 of them outside the time limit and 14 riders abandoned. Then the riders were coming in up to 55 minutes down on the leaders, and all those times they climbed over the top of the hill were added to their cumulative times they'd got. And that's what we do every day of the race. The times are added up. There have been some bonuses of 4 seconds, 6 seconds, 4 seconds and 2 seconds each day in the sprints, but they were only of some use early on in the race, when on the first day's road stage on the San Sebastian loop, Alex Züller, who had ridden his heart out in the prologue time trial to take second place behind Indurain, Alex Züller managed to get the first of the 6-second time bonuses, and that was sufficient when he came in the main group to move himself up into the lead on the general classification, and he took the yellow jersey just fleetingly before it was then taken off him later on, when the next stage the RMO put the hammer down. They got Ferenc into first place. Ferenc then for RMO taking the yellow jersey, the green jersey and the King of the Mountain. So the French having some success when Arnaud won the stage into San Sebastian, had more success in their own race here. We call the Tour de France their own race, although it's been spending a lot of time outside France this year. It was when we went to Brussels that a Belgian was looking for a win but didn't get it. That was Jalabert, and we're looking at a Danish rider, Solen Lilholt, a previous world junior champion, on his way pursuing off to try and get up there to the riders in front of him. But the French successes really have been coming from the overall classifications. Lino keeping the yellow jersey for 10 stages, but now they might be getting a victor in Jean-Claude Colotti to add to that one from Jalabert, and of course the one that De Leon won when we had the climb up towards the top at Valkenburg. Sorry about the picture break-up here, a few problems, but we had a fleeting glimpse of the chasers. And if you just joined the programme, let me say that this rider here went away, and the gap now 3 minutes 20 seconds on two other riders that went off with him very early on in the race. They'd covered some 40-odd kilometres or so when three men went away. There were Martin, Sargent and this fellow Colotti, and they just gained hatfuls all the time. So 3:21 it is for Colotti, and Martin and Sargent had their differences of opinion when Sargent wouldn't do any work at all. Martin was looking back in, and now they've started to go, but they're far too late on this one. They should have done this a long time back, and it's taken the team managers to try and sort them out and get some life back in their legs, but they're going to have a job on their hands to catch Jean-Claude Colotti, adding then to the French stage victories this year. And look at the way he's going at it. And you're looking at tired legs as well, because we're coming up towards the end of the Tour de France, covering nearly 4,000 kilometres in racing this year. These riders have had to go up the big mountains. They've had to battle out under some terrible conditions. The race started in appalling weather conditions when it was raining and miserable in the early part of the race. No wonder we're down now to just 129 riders or so left in the race. 68, 69 of having dropped out of the race so far. It has been a war of attrition this year, but with the thought of a stage victory in the head of Jean-Claude Colotti, you can see how much faster he's going than the rest of these riders, who really, many of them are going to be so pleased to see Paris. And then, of course, when they get there on the Saturday night, they then start at La Défense and do a big circuit around the south side of Paris before they come back in for the ceremonial finish. But so many of them just want to get the fact they've ridden and finished the Tour de France on their list of performances, that even when they get to Paris on a Saturday night, nobody, having got that far, will not want to ride on the final day. So all the sores that they got from crashing, the aching bones, despite the massages they get, will be brought back into action for that final day on Sunday. And here are 5 kilometres to go. Well, in fact, the gap seems to be growing at the moment now. If he comes in, then let's see, 5 kilometres, he's going to do that in about 6 minutes, I should think, 6.5 minutes or so. So he's certainly going to come in, I think, before half past 4. So in fact he's going to beat 38 kilometres per hour for the stage today, the record speed in the Tour in the form of the cumulative average speed was way back when Delgado won the race with 39.909 kilometres per hour average speed, and we're poised very close towards that now, beating that average speed. And I think today certainly we're going to beat the one we'd got down on our list as being the time that this race was going to finish today. So Colotti woken back up again with that superb attack which left Martin and Sargent floundering, and he's counting down the kilometres there with just 4 to go. There's no doubt about it, with the gap being as it is, this is going to be a triumphant run in towards the finish here in Montlucon. 4th time we finished the Tour in this town, and it's quite an interesting one really. He runs down along the Avenue de la République, and there the main field lost interest in chasing him down, and that one lone rider, he'll have to swing right into the Rue Camille Desmoulins, and that in fact is with just exactly 1,000 metres to go, and then he'll swing down in towards the finish, which is between the Quai de Stalingrad and the Quai de Verdun. So he's now right in the outskirts of the town of Montlucon, and everybody here, you can see the lovely cornfields and the very green part of France they're in now, and they're, I think, having a little bit of tour of their own, these riders. The yellow jersey just easing himself up out of the saddle, wiggling around, but the rider in front still, lovely shot, look at that one. Well, these are the riders who now on the 17th stage of the Tour have just got ahead of them then the 212 kilometres tomorrow into Tours, then the time trial of 64 kilometres, that's 276 kilometres, then on the Saturday another 22, so that's 480 odd 580, just about 620 kilometres left to go in the race this year for these riders, out of nearly 4,000 that they're going to do overall. So they've covered something about 3,200 kilometres of racing, and still the tired legs are having to go to work every day before we finish on Sunday. And Jean-Claude Colotti can now add to his list of successes. He's always been one of those riders who's been there or thereabouts, and now he's going to say, I want a stage in the Tour de France. And here the crowd absolutely enthusiastically greeting him on his way down in towards the finish. So you'll have that sharp right turn, the 1,000 kilometres in towards the finish for Jean-Claude Colotti of the Z team. And I'm sure Mr. Zanier, although he's folding his team up, will say well done to this man, and a bit of bonus as well in it, since they're bad luck in losing Greg LeMond out of the race, because that was a disappointment, and people like Jean-Claude Colotti had been in there helping him to survive in the Tour. They've done a lot of work, but now with 2 kilometres to go, they're trying to help themselves to some success. And 3:28 it is now, and Louvio has already got 7 minutes advantage over the peloton. So Louvio and together with Newlands, we haven't seen anything of them, are still in there. So behind this one rider, there's 2 men, Marc Sergent and Franz Marsen, then 2 more, Philippe Louvio and Guy Newlands, then 1 man Lillolt on his own, and then the main peloton. They've all yet to finish, and they're going to come in another 15 minutes or so. So whilst this lad is going to set a very, very fast pace indeed, I say lad because he's now, 31 years of age, and he had his 31st birthday on the 1st of July, just the week before the Tour started. So he's got a bit of a birthday present here. He's taken a few days to get it, and see how he's easing his back here, getting a little bit forward, oh, the pain and the suffering is there for us all to see, but there'll be the smile of a victor when he just turns right shortly and then swings round the last kilometre in towards the finish. You see all the tapes on the side of the road to stop the spectators straying forward. I'm sure perhaps they'll have to consider doing something like this on some of the mountain climbs in future. We've seen some sights up there with spectators encroaching, but nowhere in the town here. Now here it is, that's the right turn, and then the long straight in towards the finish. The sounds of the crowd bouncing off the buildings round about, making it absolutely deafening for him. Coming in then to Montlucon, which is the crossroads of the centre of France, and it's an area of major activity here. They've got a great university with something like...
Wie ist der Sieg zustande gekommen?
Door het feit dat de omstandigheden zo meezaten.
Gold Race, lui qui aimerait tant remporter une grande classique, le voilà qui va remporter une grande victoire d'étape. Cette dernière descente. En solitaire au milieu de
earlier on in the race were just messing around, a super piece of adventure when he went away, and so now he comes in to finish now. The man who in 1991 took a 2nd place in the Paris-Roubaix is now going to be able to say, yes, I won a stage in the Tour de France. The elation is absolutely there, and he just can't believe it, but he's done it. And Albert Bourboule also behind for France, one of the organisers of this great event, is equally elated. And that's it then, Jean-Claude Colotti. He can hardly believe that one, can he? 41.248 kilometres per hour. That's certainly boosted the average speed of the race as they're about to go under the Dunlop Bridge, these 2 riders who had been with Jean-Claude Colotti, and they saw that the rider from Panasonic on the right-hand side is Sergent was doing nothing to aid the chase, so off he went, and now he's got his stage. A very, very astute piece of bike riding as far as he's concerned, and these 2 will have to settle the differences for 2nd place and the prize money that goes with that one. Still quite a useful thing to do when you're coming down here is to get there for the prizes, because although 1st place now has won a special prize over the line then of some I'm just waiting, there's something else coming up on the headphone. No, there's no information of the ones between them. Just waiting for the information to come through, but they're not Oh no, in fact they're interviewing Jean-Claude Colotti at the moment, whose breath is somebody stuffed a microphone up underneath his nose, like him in the background then trying to be spoken to, and he's saying that after Greg went out of the race they've been free to do what they can, and that's why he's got that one. So there we are then, he's got these days today. And these two then fighting out for second and third place. So he's better off than Jean-Claude Colotti, 50,000 French francs, that's well over £5,000. And these two looking to split the £2,000 for second, 1,000 for third, or to be more precise, 20,000 French francs for second, 10,000 French francs for the third spot. Well, they've said bye-bye to the 50,000 that Jean-Claude Colotti has got, and of course the chance of putting your name up there as a victor on a stage in the Tour de France. So Frans Masson still leading out here at the moment. Winner of the Tour of Holland last year, also last year winner of the Amstel Gold Race, winner, as I said, some years ago in the Wincanton Classic in 1989 in Great Britain. Tremendous a lot of success he's got to his career over the years, but they're not going to add this one as a stage in the Tour de France to this year's list of successes for the Buckler team. They'll be very upset about that one. They've been searching for a victory. Marson did win a stage in the Tour way back in 1990, so he's no stranger to having his name up there in lights at the end of the stage. They're looking back then, they need not have any worry, because Guy Newlands and Louvieux are some considerable way back. We haven't seen anything of them for a long, long time now, and here they come sweeping in. Who's going to get this sprint here? Well, Marc Sargent, previous champion of Belgium. Let's see if he can get this one here, or they're going to start fighting, or they come up to the lines. Marson very upset that Marc Sargent had done no work earlier on. He's now got the job of leading out here, so unfortunately he's not in the best position at all. Sargent, a stage winner in the Tour de France in 1987, is now going to have to battle for second place, but Marson is very determined indeed, and still Sargent's on his wheel. Marson, though, is trying to keep him out of there, but Sargent comes up, but no, on the line. Oh, I wouldn't like to say he was second out of that one. Well, if I was had any sympathy for a bike rider, I'd have given it to Marson just as a well-done consolation prize. But I don't know, the photo finish will tell us who was second out of those two. And it could have been a sprint for first place if only they'd settled their differences earlier on. Well, we're going to take a short break. The field are still coming in towards the finish, and we'll be having more of that later on. We're looking back at the main field of riders, and there you can see the black, yellow and red jersey of Johan Museo, and alongside him, just a little bit to the right and back from him, is the green jersey of Jalabert. Well, a lot of the maximum points will have disappeared down the road now, because Jean-Claude Colotti having won the stage, and we have got confirmation now, whilst we've been off air, that Frans Masson by 1 millimetre beat Sargent for the second place. So perhaps in the end justice was there, because Sargent wouldn't chase early on, and Masson got a second place then. So that was the result of the... there we are, up on the podium then. Colotti taking that very well-earned victory, and a nice bit of thinking on his part. And there he is, the race still going on, the riders still coming in to finish. And if you've just joined the program and you've seen first, second and third over the line, let me tell you, behind first, second and third is Louvieux and Newlands, and here the Once colours are without Louvieux, and at the moment then they're still pulling this along pretty quickly indeed. Here we got the Once jersey just behind that of Guy Newlands. So Newlands, whoops, he's missed the switch, and Louvieux caught him there. He came straight off the wheel, but Newlands knows a thing or two. He's been around for a few years now, 35 years of age, but I don't think he's got the power in his legs to catch a youngster. So there we are, Louvieux, 8 minutes 33 since his fellow Frenchman crossed the line in first place, Jean-Claude Colotti. Here the rest of the pink jerseys on the front, like a lot of flamingos flocking to come in to roost, as behind the green jersey, also riding for Once there, back in fifth spot. The object of the exercise is still to get as many points as they can. Yes, every one of the pink jerseys, except for Louvieux, who is up there marking that attack, is now on the front, and you can see Museo is now, look, just moving up behind the green jersey. Oh, we've got an interesting one here, because Solon Lilholt is somewhere wedged between this lot and the finish. We don't know if he's been caught yet. We think he's back in the main group. Well, there we are, and I'm informed he's back in the main group, and so the first 5 men are in, and this is going to be a sprint then for the second spot. And the first rider over the line then, already having taken away 25 points, has gone to Colotti. The second and third fought out for 20 and 22 points. We've seen fourth and fifth come over the line, so that's 18 and 16 points gone. And so from now on in, they're going to be sprinting for the lesser points as such. So 5 men over, and in sixth spot there will be 15 points at stake, but then it goes 15, 14, 13, 12 and so on, right the way down to the 20th rider, who'll get 1 point. And coming in towards the finish now with Once on the front, they know that Jalabert needs to get every point he can do, although he's got this morning 207 points in the green jersey points competition. Museo had 182. There was still therefore some 25 points separating the two of them. Otherwise, look, he's tightening up his shoes. He's got Velcro fastenings on there, and when you're pulling your feet up on those clips, they don't pull off the pedals if they're properly adjusted, because to take your feet out you flick them sideways. So there we are, those are the first 5 in. Confirmation for you of the gaps that existed between the riders across the line. You saw Luvio tightening up his shoe straps. They are Velcro fastenings, so he could just put them down so his feet didn't pull out of the shoes, because they're so rigidly held on the pedals. If they're adjusted properly, the only thing that can come out is your feet. You have to flick your feet sideways, spin them through a few degrees to free them from the pedals. But when you're pushing like this at the moment, then they are locked on good and proper. That I said, providing they're properly adjusted. I do know there have been occasions in sprints when they have not locked up the cleats underneath properly, and they can in fact pull out. It has been done. Bob Roll did it, bouncing over the cobbles into Cardiff some years ago in the Kellogg's Pro Tour, as the riders here for the Once team do what they can to keep their man in with a count. So to Diaz Zabala and Xavier Alandondo is in there. Stephen Hodge also in there at the moment, Martinez Torres, Neil Stevens and Johnny Welts, without Alex Ziller, their young rider who took the yellow jersey on the first day, San Sebastian, who sensibly on the rest day was advised by his team manager in consultation. They decided that he ought to go and rest and preserve himself for later on, because he is going to be, I think, one of those future riders for the Tour. Same thing happened to Indurain on his first Tour, by the way. They decided he wouldn't go the whole way, because his team manager, who'll be looking after him since he'd been a young junior rider and through the amateur ranks, recognised the future that man had, and rather than burning him out, took Indurain out of it. So Jose Echevarri of the Bernesto team recognised the sensible thing to do was to take Indurain out of the race many years ago. Now the same thing happened to young Ziller, who rided for the Once team. So we might see history repeating itself, because the class of that man has showed earlier on during the race. But Indurain is in yellow now. It's second year in succession he's worn yellow in the Tour de France, and the battle now is for the green jersey then, as these riders still thundering on in on their very unusual look bicycles, and the speed now is up all the way then, as the riders going flat out and they're changing places on the front. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so all the pink jerseys here, just the green jersey of Jalabert then with on his wheel also will be Museo, waiting to pounce and come off his wheel, because he wants to cut that 25-point deficit. But remember, the distance between the placing is only 1 point per man, and the pink jerseys are being blown a bit. Just seeing that Stevens and Hodge have been really working hard, the two Australians in this team, which is conducted mainly of Spanish and French riders, but they've got a Danish rider in there as well. What a league of nations they are, but they know the language of bike racing and what they have to do. That's to keep the pressure up. And looking down there, I can still see the jersey of the champion of Belgium hovering close to it. No, they're not all on the look bikes. You're quite right. Brian's pointing out to these different bikes. They're on different ones. Yeah, they just choose sometimes to ride some and some don't. There we are. He's not on the look bike, and nor is Jalabert for that matter. I can see that they're here behind. Now this is the battle now with Marson now right behind Jalabert. These two really want to settle the difference. That green jersey in the finest style. The pinks on the front of the flamingo-coloured Once have done the right thing. They've kept the speed up now, drifting off there. He's had enough. He's had to go on the front, and so it's time then for Alandondo to go off the front. Still look how calm and collected Jalabert is. A very fast man indeed. He's been getting maximum points for that jersey over Museo. Hasn't scored in the last couple of days because Museo was unable to climb the hills towards the finish. But today is dead flat. This will suit the searing speed of Museo, but other attacks are coming along as well. They're going to get sandwiched now by other riders who have ideas because there's so much money down in the points competition and for stage victories. So right now then, they're all still jostling as moving up into the groupings. Even Pucci's got himself up in that little group as well, but still behind him, like Batman and Boy Robin, we have these two wonder men of the sprint, Jalabert in green and Museo right behind him now, as these two then heading on down in towards the finish. They've got these prizes ahead going down to 22nd place, and so they're here battling out for 6, and there's 4,000 francs at stake as they swing round. Just 400 quid's worth of money, but it's those vital points, and still just 2 pink jerseys in front, inside 1 kilometre to go, and an infiltrator has just managed to get in there at the moment, but no, they're going away again, as yes, Laurent Lilhut was not caught in the group. He's still out there. He's not caught at all by the main pack, so I'm sorry about the information came up wrong from our radio. Laurent Lilhut has stayed out there, and he's taken then the 6th place, so that knocks back all the points even more so. And there 15 minutes and 41 seconds since Colotti crossed the line. Here we have these 2 pink jerseys on the front, still managing to hang on. They've been dying and dropping off like flies towards the end on the mountains, the pinks, but this time now, as he looks over his shoulders, then Stevens can see that they're starting to wind up the sprint, and a little lead out here from Lotto and Jalabert on the far side there, battling it out within the centre. Museo, Lotto look like they might get this one. Museo is going a bit faster, and it looks like Jalabert is dying. He's dying, and they're trying to push him back another point, and zoom up on the left-hand side. Jean-Paul Van Poppel came up as well and went straight up alongside them. Well, we'll have to see what the score was there, but Jalabert could have been in trouble because Lotto were well placed with 2 men. Van Poppel came up, and if in fact Jalabert had finished there 3 men back, he would have lost himself about 3 or 4 points. Well, they'll have to shuttle the old computer tonight. Certainly the green jersey is still on Jalabert's shoulder, but no doubt about it, Museo has said it's not over and done with yet because we've still got some distance to go before the finish of this tour. Great work then by the Once riders in the pink to get Jalabert through so that we could get that sprint, and Van Poppel it is that comes up. Watch on the right hand side the speed at which he comes forward. Hang on, what's this one? We're not going to get the whole screen here. Museo is there, Jalabert is losing ground, and Poppel looks up, swings out, cruises in, but Museo is just getting there on the line. He gets it, and Poppel was close though. Van Poppel was extremely close indeed. That was a nut's whisker, that one. I'm sure that it'll take the photo to split that one. It was very, very close indeed. Watch this one. They're concentrating out of a helicopter on these 3 sprinting, and in fact coming up on the left-hand side was a pretty fast man indeed. That's Peter de Klerk there on the left. What he's got to do, he's gone there, he hasn't given up obviously, because if he can get ahead of Jalabert, that's another point Jalabert's not going to get. So whilst the yellow jersey now is safely 1 minute 42 up on Pucci. Watch this, look. Oh. Well, I reckon Jean-Paul Van Poppel got ahead of Jalabert, so there's 1, 2, 3 men, that's 3 more points down the pan, and what a beautiful sight that is. Well, we're going to get some drop of water to quench our thirst. Myself, David Duffield, and the Eurosport team. I think it's been a great day today, hasn't it? We're going to see the green jersey on the stage at the moment.